Hello and welcome to another episode of Find Your Purpose podcast. And I'm here with Ellie, who is a wellbeing practitioner, and we're going to be talking all things purpose and purposeful. So I have to ask you the opening question, which I ask most of my guests. Did you always want to be a wellbeing practitioner?
Well, yeah, I always did at the back of my mind want to be a wellbeing practitioner. But I've always also had this little niggle that I had to be a nurse in the back of my mind as well. And I didn't really want to be a nurse, but I felt this push that I had to be a nurse. So yeah, so when I decided I trained in my Reiki and reflexology, and I was really excited to go that way, but there was always something telling me I couldn't go that way because I needed to somehow bridge it with the more conventional medicine. So therefore, I went and trained to be a nurse and have ended up being a nurse for a long time. And then in more recent years, have come back to where I was originally meant to be. But I
That's
kind of
really interesting. So tell me a little bit more about the nursing. You say that you always wanted to be a nurse. So at what age of you was deciding things like that? Can you remember?
I think I remember being a little, when I was a little girl, little girl, when I was young, my mum was always saying, "Oh, you've got to be a nurse." Everybody said I had to be a nurse, and I was always a bit kind of stubborn. No, I'm not going to be a nurse. But it was in the back of my mind. I like the sort of, yeah, the caring roles, but I knew, it wasn't quite right, and nor was the wellbeing practitioner quite right. And so I'd often veer between the two worlds and didn't feel kind of like I was fully living my purpose doing either one of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's this your family, what I'm hearing is your family recognized your caring side. Was there any mentors or teachers or particular people that came in to help nurture those parts of yourself, especially with the nursing? We can go further on later, but with the nursing, was there certain key people, mentors and teachers?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I hadn't really thought of that before. I knew that my great grandma had been like she was a nurse, but she also worked with herbs and everything. And she had her husband worked in the hospital, and she was told that she had to stop doing her herbs or he was going to lose his job. And I always remember thinking, wow, she's like, oh wow, I want to be like her. She really inspired me. And that was the kind of bridging of the worlds thing as well. But then, yeah, my best friend's mum was a nurse and so lovely and caring, and those sorts of people kind of made me feel like I wanted to do that sort of work. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like you did have quite a nice circle of influence and with the feminine line by the sounds of it, the caring side, and then almost the medicine woman sort of side. Do you think that connects with any kind of ancestry sort of stuff?
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah.
That's good. Would you say you're spiritual at all? Do you believe in things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, completely. I do. Yeah.
Like your destinies. So if we're
Yeah.
then picking up, you say, has there been any pivotal times in between nursing and what you're doing now? Talk a little bit more about any um, bridges over to doing more of the well-being stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, the one pivotal moment was when I was about to do the course in holistic medicine, and then the voice just really said, "No, you you're not going to be happy just doing that because you've got to be a bridge." And that's when I went and do the nursing, and then I got stuck. It's almost like my light went out and I forgot my purpose while I was in nursing, which is another topic, isn't it? And in an unhealthy relationship, everything was felt like the life had been sucked out of me a bit. And then I suddenly had these little light bulb moments. And the things that really did it for me actually was patients in the hospital, because I was just observing all the time and asking people questions. And I was working in the cancer ward, and I was seeing these people would come in, and they weren't just, obviously the medical treatment is really great and everything, but there was others who were like taking an extra approach, and they were looking deeper, and they were going on this more of a journey of healing with it. And I was seeing what was happening and noticing this and noticing that it wasn't really being witnessed what was happening. And every time I saw it, I was like, this everybody needs to know that there's another way. And so there are lots of moments like that. But then there was this one moment, and it seems like a small moment with all these amazing things I saw. But one lady who I really had got to know and really liked, I had this moment where I had 6 patients who were all very acutely unwell, um, and sort of emergency treatment I need to give, when you're thinking, "Where do I go next? What am I gonna
Yeah.
do?" And she called me because she was in pain, and I went into her room, and I knew I had only a minute or something with her. I said, "Shall I give you some morphine?" And she just looked at me and she said, "It's not all these drugs you're giving me, they're not gonna help because my pain is deeper than this." And I couldn't do anything. There was a counsellor. I mean, things are better now, but there was a counsellor I could refer her to in 2 weeks' time. And she said I could have some Reiki or reflexology. That's helped before, and I knew I could do that. But in the end, obviously, I had to give her the morphine. And as I was giving it to her, I was almost crying. And just I said to myself then, I'm going to change things. We can't go on like this. The healthcare system can't go on just using band aids. People need more, and I'm going to change things. And I think that was like a massive turning point for me, where I then began to retrain, and eventually left that job and started building up my holistic practice then. Yeah,
Wow, I've had a similar experience as well to you. I felt absolutely helpless. I think from my understanding and my experience is that if you're quite empathic and sensitive, you literally can feel people's pain. It's
yes,
like that body
exactly.
to
Yeah,
body or heart to heart, that deep sort of connection. And it is ultimately about relieving suffering. Who wants to be suffering in pain? We came here to heal, grow, have sort of experiences. I really relate to that story. What a brilliant
yeah.
story to share with me. So what were your next steps from that experience then to connect, really, because you're saying you're about the bridge, and I've always seen myself as about the bridge as well, from the old to the new, and bringing in more effective ways of living and being.
Yeah.
What have been your
So
next step?
what happened next? Well, I left the NHS and I built up this practice of holistic medicine, and I was really happy. I felt like I was doing what I was meant to do, and I was really helping people, and we were going deeper, and the things that I missed doing in nursing. And as I left the relationship that I talked about as well, and suddenly it was almost like the light turned on in me again, but very, very suddenly. And I used to be someone who had, dreams and visions and things like that, but they suddenly came back very quickly. But that was great for my healing work and I was loving it. But I just got to a point where I'd found balance. I was able to manage all of those things in the world. And then suddenly, this is my soul pushing me. This is my purpose. Like I said about I can't just do one, I have to be a bridge. Everything in
Absolutely.
my life suddenly changed. So many little things happened. I couldn't do my work from home. The car broke, the front door broke. There were loads of things that happened that I just couldn't work. And I was just there thinking, what's going on? And I was like, I know what I've got to do. And I just had this moment. I walked up the steps to the hospital in town and I was thinking, "What are you doing? You're going back. You're going back." But I was happy because I knew my soul wanted me to go back in.
Mm,
And I got to the hospital, sat in the sister's office and said, "Have you got any jobs?" And as I was walking up the steps, I was saying to my soul, I promised I'd never do a night shift again. And I got in and sat down in her office and she said, "Oh, yeah, we've got a job. You can start on Monday. It's a days only contract. Is that okay?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm meant to be here." And so
yeah,
I've gone back and I'm now nursing, but with all my intuition and healing abilities turned on. And it's been like a very hard experience, but also an amazing learning experience. And sort of
mhm,
trying to speak up about how we can do things differently a little bit more. And I feel I'm more in that role of being a bridge. So I'm still doing my holistic work as well, but I'm also trying to support other healthcare workers, and sort of just raise awareness and also hold that vision, like you said. Being a bridge
yeah,
sometimes is holding the vision of what
it
we could
is.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, having I run a 7-day plan alongside my 90-day vision. I don't like to think too far ahead, but keep working and working and have an idea of what it looks like, what it feels like. So it's top tip time. So
Yes.
what top tip would you give to someone who's wanting to feel a lot more purpose in their life?
So I think, yeah, the top tip I've learned is just, well, I mean, the biggest tip for me is just to listen and to trust, because I think when I'm working in the hospital, when I'm talking about how illness and how people are in their bodies, it's having that trust and believing what you're hearing. And the same applies with purpose, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not always going to take the path you think. Like me going back to nursing for 10 years, it's there within you and you know it. And it's just about trusting and letting your soul lead you. That's what I think
Yeah, I
anyway.
think that's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's about trusting the process of change and actually embracing it and learning new skills and different ways of doing things. And that's the new kind of world that we're moving forward towards. So what are you actually specifically working on right now in your wellbeing practitioner?
So in my wellbeing practice, I'm working one to one, and I'm working with women for hormone balancing, which and also in terms of like purpose and things like that, because I feel it's all linked, how we look after ourselves on all levels. And I'm also starting to work a bit more with people in the NHS, sort of offering support groups for NHS workers, and helping people learn to listen to the wisdom within, really, whether using or working in the healthcare system, helping us to tune back into those qualities. So yeah.
Oh, it's so inspiring. There's somebody I know that I need to connect you with that's doing
Oh,
similar sort of
amazing.
work. So we need
Oh,
to
okay, thank
connect
you.
you up. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm just so inspired by your story and the work that you're going on to do. So if anyone wants to get in contact with me, they can find me at Conscious Pathways Solutions, and I help people to rediscover their purpose. So thank you so much, Ellie. It's been an absolute pleasure, and bye for now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you.
Bye for now.